This year marks the 10th anniversary of my wife's death. I was rummaging through a dumpster, just like any other day. The stench of rotting garbage and stale beer was a familiar perfume. My life had become this collection of discarded things ever since my wife, Lily, had passed away. Before she died, she made a massive investment, taking out a bank loan for over $50 million. After her death, that mountain of debt landed squarely on my shoulders. I used to have a respectable job, a career, but the debt collectors were relentless. They showed up at my office, making scenes, and the company, unwilling to be dragged into my mess, cut me loose. Just like that, I was not only drowning in debt, but also unemployed. But I have my principles. I refused to become a deadbeat, to flee the country and hide. Instead, I committed to paying it back, cent by cent, even though I knew it was a task I could never complete in this lifetime. I'm a bit superstitious. I told myself that if I could settle her debt, maybe she would have a better existence in the afterlife. It was my final act of devotion. I loved her that much. I was always faithful. All of it, however, was a lie, a cruel joke. That day, as I was sorting through refuse, a gleaming BMW pulled up. The passenger window rolled down, and a plastic water bottle was tossed out, landing near my feet. I looked up, ready to offer a word of thanks for the recyclable, and my world froze. The woman in the passenger seat had the exact same face as my deceased wife, Lily. Lily, I whispered, the name a ghost on my lips. The woman flinched, a flicker of recognition in her eyes before her smile dissolved into shock. It was only for a second, but I saw it. I saw everything in that one moment. You have the wrong person, she said, her voice flat and cold. My name is Jessica. I craned my neck to see the driver, and the last embers of hope in my heart turned to ash. The man behind the wheel was Sean, Lily's college boyfriend. The pieces of the puzzle clicked into place with horrifying clarity. Don't lie to me, Lily. You're Lily. But you can't be. You died 10 years ago from gas poisoning. Stop, she cut me off, her voice sharp. I'm telling you again, I'm not this Lily person you're talking about. I'm Jessica. Now leave us alone. Sean, in the driver's seat, looked at my ragged form with a sneer. Why are you even talking to him, honey? He's clearly a lunatic. Roll up the window, let's go. This is ruining my day. I knew with absolute certainty. This was her. This was Lily. As the window began to rise, she threw a $100 bill out. In a voice low enough for only me to hear, she hissed, "Sucker. You deserve to pay my debts for the rest of your life. Idiot." Then, through the tinted glass, I could just make out her words to him. Let's go, darling. The BMW roared to life, kicking up a cloud of dust that enveloped me, making my wretched state feel even more profound. My mind was a maelstrom of confusion and betrayal. I collapsed onto the pavement, the last 10 years of my life flashing before my eyes. 10 years of sacrifice, of honoring a ghost. Watching the car disappear into the distance, my gaze fell upon the crisp bill lying in the dirt. A knot tightened in my throat, and a bitter, coppery taste filled my mouth. A wave of blackness washed over me, and I knew no more. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hotel room. It felt both familiar and strange. Familiar because I had a nagging feeling I'd been here before. Strange because it was an utterly unremarkable, generic hotel. I looked around, bewildered. The last thing I remembered was the crushing weight of that betrayal, the sight of the BMW speeding away, and then, nothing. My eyes drifted to a calendar on the wall. The date was stark and clear, July 14th, 2014. What the hell? I muttered. Why would a hotel still have a calendar from 10 years ago on the wall? So unprofessional. I reached for my phone on the bedside table. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Then a cold sweat broke out across my entire body. The phone in my hand was mine, yes, but it was a model I hadn't used in a decade. An old Lenovo with a detachable battery, a perk from my old company. Next to it lay a universal charger, a relic from a bygone era. With a trembling hand, I powered it on. The date on the screen matched the calendar perfectly. I was back? I had traveled back 10 years in time. A flood of memories rushed into my mind, overwhelming me. I remembered this hotel. It was the one I stayed in for a business trip 10 years ago. Staring at the date on the phone, a jolt shot through me. July 14th, 2014. That was the day Lily died. I was out of town on that business trip. When I got the call, it was impossible to get back in time. I was in Beijing, and home was in Nanjing, a solid 8 or 9 hour drive. I remembered racing back, a frantic, 12-hour blur of asphalt and grief. By the time I arrived, She had already been cremated. I was such an idiot. I whispered, the realization hitting me like a physical blow. I was her husband. Even if she had died from gas poisoning, shouldn't they have waited for me to see her one last time before the cremation? Her parents told me they were worried the body would decompose in the summer heat. Lost in my sorrow, I never questioned it. I never thought to dig deeper. I couldn't waste another second. I glanced at the clock on my phone. It was 7 a.m. There's still time, I said, a surge of adrenaline coursing through me. I remembered the call informing me of her death came around 7 in the evening. Without another thought, I grabbed my car keys, threw $1,000 on the front desk without even checking out, and sprinted out of the hotel. On the highway, my phone rang. I kept my eyes on the road, swiping to answer. Alex? Mr. Stone? This is Mark from Jia Corporation. We were supposed to meet at the Starbucks on Manhwa Street at 9 this morning. I've been waiting for almost 2 hours. Where are you? My mind was a blank. I was a man from the future. I had no memory of this specific deal. Oh, right. My apologies, I said, trying to sound convincing. Something personal has come up unexpectedly. I'm afraid I won't be able to make our meeting today. Personal? You couldn't have given me a heads up? Do you have any idea how valuable my time is? Tell your boss the deal is off. Your company is completely unreliable. A white-hot rage, 10 years in the making, erupted inside me. The last decade of my life had been one of complete submission and misery. What did this deal matter compared to my wife faking her death? Compared to the mountain of debt she left me? Compared to a decade spent sifting through other people's garbage? Screw you and your precious time, I snarled and stomped on the accelerator. The speedometer needle climbed past 140. The GPS navigation system chimed incessantly. You have exceeded the speed limit. Please slow down. I ignored it, my knuckles white on the steering wheel, my vision blurred by a mix of tears and fury. The phone rang again. I answered without looking. Alex, what the hell is wrong with you? How could you stand up, Mr. He? The company gave you this opportunity because we believed in you. Is this how you repay us? It was my boss, the master of empty promises. The same man who led the charge to oust me when the debt collectors came knocking. I understood his position, but I could never accept it. He was afraid I'd ask the company for a loan. That's all it was. You listen to me, you son of a bitch. I screamed into the phone. You ever talk to me like that again, and I'll tear your tongue out. As of this moment, I quit. I'm done serving you. Shove my last paycheck up your ass, or better yet, use it to buy your dying mother something nice to eat. Have you lost your mind? I hung up before he could say another word. Fueled by anger, I made the journey 2 hours faster than I thought possible. It was just past 4 in the afternoon when I pulled into Nanjing. I parked my car in a discreet spot and made my way toward my apartment building. Half an hour earlier, I had made a video call to Lily on an old messaging app. I confirmed she was home, and I saw them with her, her younger sister, Hannah, and her best friend, a doctor named Chloe. Seeing them together made it all click. In my past life, it was Hannah who called me with the news. It was Chloe who signed the death certificate. The three of them were in my home, right now, on the very day of her death. They were plotting. They were rehearsing their little tragedy. My apartment was on the 3rd floor. I crept up the stairs and hid in the landing between the 3rd and 4th floors. An idea formed in my mind. I opened the chat app and sent Lily a message. Honey, the meeting wrapped up early. I'm on my way home now. Leave the door unlocked for me around midnight. Winky face, winking emoji. My goal was simple, to force them to act sooner, to disrupt their carefully laid plans. I stared at the screen, my eyes cold. You played me for a fool in our last life, Lily. You wanted to fake your death? This time, I'll make sure it's real. I'll make sure you suffer a death so terrible it will finally quench the hatred in my soul. Moments after I sent the message, I heard the frantic sound of my apartment door opening. Then, their hushed, urgent voices drifted up the stairwell. Chloe, Lily, we have to move up the timeline. Alex is on his way back. We need to go now, right now. We have to create the scene and get you cremated before he gets here. Hannah, but if we tell him she's dead now, he could be here by midnight. How do we explain not letting him see her one last time? Will that be believable? Chloe, we don't have time for believable. We have to act. You and I can't be the ones to explain it. We'll have your parents tell him. He'll be too grief-stricken to question them. I'll go write the death certificate now. From this day forward, my best friend isn't Lily anymore. She's Jessica. Lily, whatever it takes. I have to get away from him and be with my real love. And remember, once this is done, there's $1 million in it for each of you. I knew her real love was Sean. As they scurried down the stairs, I emerged from my hiding spot, my gaze as cold as ice. Sure enough, less than 30 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Hannah. Alex, brother-in-law, I have to tell you something. You have to be strong when you hear this. Okay, what is it? I replied, my voice carefully neutral. It's my sister. Lily, there was a gas leak, and... What? A leak? I feigned shock. How is she? I just video chatted with her. I saw you and Chloe there at the apartment. How could this happen if you were with her? My question threw her completely. My unexpected return had created a flaw in their story. From the other end of the line, I heard Chloe's voice take over as she snatched the phone. Alex, Lily, she's gone. Hannah and I were there, but we left about 2 hours ago. Lily must have tried to cook something, and the gas leaked. She called us an hour ago, said she was on the floor. We rushed back as fast as we could, but we couldn't save her. Her voice broke into fabricated sobs. I played my part, my voice thick with mock grief. Where is she now? I'm coming right now. Chloe continued her performance. We're at First General Hospital. Alex, I know this is hard, but you have to take care of yourself. Lily wouldn't want to see you suffer. I almost scoffed. She wouldn't want to see me suffer? This was the woman who was perfectly happy to saddle me with a crippling debt for the rest of my life. Hannah's voice came back on the line. Brother-in-law, my parents and I have decided to send her for cremation first. It's so hot. We're afraid the body will. You should hurry back. We can plan the rest of the funeral together. This was it. The crucial moment. I cut her off. No, don't cremate her. You have to wait for me. I'm already in Nanjing. I was coming home to surprise her. Wait for me. I can be there in 30 minutes. Oh, my poor wife. She wasn't even 30. Why was her life so cruel? I hung up before they could argue. Down in the hospital's underground parking garage, I lit a cigarette, a cruel smile playing on my lips as I watched the seconds tick by. Don't worry, Lily. I'm coming, and I'll be the one to kill you. In the hospital room, Lily lay perfectly still on the bed, a convincing portrait of death, but I could see the subtle rise and fall of her chest. The sight made my teeth ache with rage. I wanted to march over and strangle her for real, but I knew I had to be patient. I channeled my inner grief, summoning an Oscar-worthy performance. I threw myself onto her body, weeping loudly, smearing tears and snot all over her face. When no one was looking, I discreetly spat a thick wad of phlegm into her slightly parted lips. I noticed the small needle marks on her neck and understood immediately. She wasn't dead, but she was conscious, trapped inside her own body. They must have given her a powerful anesthetic or sedative. A new wave of fury washed over me. I drew back my arm and delivered 2 sharp slaps across her face. You stupid woman. How could you just leave me like this? I told you not to cook when you're home alone, but you never listen. Look at you now, you've poisoned yourself. Hannah and Chloe rushed to my side, each grabbing an arm. Alex, you have to stop. Lily wouldn't want to see you like this. We all know how much you two loved each other, but life is unpredictable. You must be strong. He's right, brother-in-law. She's gone. Crying won't bring her back. We need to be strong for her now, to handle her final arrangements. Seeing them so committed to their roles, I decided to escalate my own. We were supposed to grow old together. You left me all alone in this world. I don't want to live anymore either. With a loud cry, I slammed my forehead directly onto the bridge of her nose. I heard a distinct, sickening crunch. I knew I had broken it. I saw 2 perfect tears slide from the corners of Lily's closed eyes. It was an involuntary physiological reaction to the intense pain. A dark satisfaction bloomed in my chest. Let's see how you like the feeling of a broken nose when you can't even scream, you bitch. Just as the 2 of them were trying to process what I'd done, a sharp voice cut through the room from the doorway. What is going on? Alex, what are you doing? It was Lily's mother, Mrs. Chun. I immediately dropped to my knees before her, my eyes red and swollen. Mom, Lily's gone. She's really gone. I don't have a wife anymore, and you've lost your daughter. Oh God. My sincere performance seemed to disarm her. She was clearly horrified by what I'd just done to her daughter, but my overwhelming grief made it impossible for her to lash out. In truth, she should have been blaming me for not taking better care of Lily, but she didn't. Why? Guilt. She knew this was all a sham. She was a terrible actress. After a moment, I composed myself. I understand. I need to be strong. Since she's gone, I'll contact the crematorium. It's time to let her rest. No, absolutely not. Brother-in-law, don't. The 3 women spoke in unison. Why not? I asked simply. Mrs. Chun recited her lines stiffly, as if reading from a script. Lily was always such a kind soul. She told me that if she ever passed away, she wanted to donate any usable organs to the state. We have to honor her wishes. Kind. She's the most venomous snake I've ever known, I thought. Out loud, I said no, absolutely not. My wife is gone. I will not let her body be carved up. She came into this world whole, and she will leave it whole. I knew exactly what they were planning. They had a contact at the organ donation center who would help them complete the charade. She is my wife, I said, my voice hard as steel. I will not allow her to be desecrated after death. She is my daughter. It's not your place to decide. Mrs. Chen shouted. Hannah chimed in. How can you be so heartless? My sister was a selfless person. Even in death, she wanted to help others. Are you going to deny her that? Will you be paying back her loans then? I roared, my voice echoing in the small room. Silence. According to the original script of my past life, I didn't find out about the debt until days after her death. My question stunned them. They had no idea how I could possibly know. What loan? Mrs. Chen stammered. I don't have time to explain. You can check with the bank yourselves. The total is 50 million. If you insist on donating her organs today, then you can take on the debt. We can. Write it down, right here, right now. She is my wife, and I will protect her. Don't you dare try to use morality to pressure me. I loved her, and I won't let anyone harm her now. My performance was flawless. They were speechless. I seized the opportunity, pulling out my phone and calling the crematorium. They said they could have a vehicle here in 20 minutes. By the time the crematorium staff arrived and loaded Lily's body onto the transport vehicle, the three women had finally snapped out of their shock. They knew if they didn't stop this now, Lily was really going into the furnace. Alex, let's just keep her here for one more night. As her mother, I just want a little more time with my daughter. Yes, brother-in-law. I can't bear to let her go so soon. Alex, Lily was my best friend. The thought of her being turned to ash. It's too much to bear, Chloe wailed. The three of them began to cry and wail, putting on a dramatic show and trying to block the staff from leaving. But they were just three women. I spread my arms, holding them back. I am the deceased's husband and sole heir, I announced to the workers. The family is emotional, but the body can't wait. Please, continue. You bastard. Don't you dare touch my sister. Hannah shrieked, struggling against my grip. The other two screamed and cursed, but it was futile. I endured their scratches and blows, a ghost of a smile on my face. Downstairs, as the workers loaded the gurney into the van, I shoved the three women aside, leaped into the back, and slammed the doors shut. Drive. Go now, I yelled to the driver. Inside the dark van, I looked down at Lily's still form. A thrill of pure adrenaline surged through me. In my previous life, when I saw her in that BMW, 10 years had passed, but she was still beautiful, preserved by money and a life of ease. She had looked at me, her husband of 10 years, with such contempt, calling me a madman. This woman's cruelty was boundless. If she had just asked for a divorce, told me she wanted to be with Sean, I would have let her go. But a divorce meant splitting their assets and tarnishing her family's reputation. Faking her death was so much cleaner. She could offload all her debt onto me and start a new life with a new identity, free and clear. I leaned down close to her ear and whispered, I might as well tell you now. In the last life, you ruined me. You wanted to fake your death, didn't you? You thought your plan was perfect? Well, when you get to the other side, ask the devil himself if you had a shred of conscience left in you. Suddenly, I saw her eyebrow twitch. I knew she was conscious. The anesthesia should have held her longer, but the primal fear of death must have been fighting it. Panicked that she might wake up, I tossed $1,000 into the front. Driver, step on it. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law are trying to steal my wife's body to sell her organs. I'm a selfish man. I want my wife to leave this world in one piece. The driver, a man of action, floored it. A 20-minute drive was done in 15. The crematorium was quiet. We were ushered in immediately. I hastily signed the paperwork and helped the staff push the gurney toward the incinerator. We slid her body inside. At my insistence, they allowed me to be the one to press the button. This was my revenge. My justice. I had to be the one to end this venomous woman's life with my own hands. Besides, I was superstitious. I knew she wasn't technically dead yet, and I didn't want some innocent worker to bear the sin of what was about to happen. Just as my finger hovered over the button, I saw the three women sprinting toward me like Olympians. Brother-in-law, don't. Let us see her one last time. Alex, my dear son-in-law, please don't do it. Don't be rash, Alex. Please, just one last look. I clenched my jaw so hard it ached. With their desperate faces just feet away, I slammed my finger down on the button. No, sister. Their screams ripped through the air as a roar of fire erupted inside the chamber, instantly engulfing Lily. I turned to the furnace, wiping fake tears from my eyes. Oh, Lily, you were a good wife and a good daughter. Look how much your mother and sister love you. You can rest in peace now. Don't worry, I'll take good care of your mother for you. And make sure she joins you soon, I added silently. Mrs. Chun, now completely unhinged, began frantically pressing the buttons on the control panel. Stop. Why won't the fire stop? A staff member gently intervened. Ma'am, please calm down. This is an automated system. Pressing the button again only increases the intensity of the flames. She is at peace now. Let her go. Mrs. Chun and Hannah's faces were ashen. Hannah turned on me, her face a mask of fury, and grabbed my collar. You're a murderer. You killed my sister. You pressed the button. She was burned alive because of you. Are you insane? I shoved her away, sending her sprawling to the floor. Watch your mouth. What do you mean I'm a murderer? What do you mean she was burned alive? I pulled the official document from my pocket. Here is the death certificate, signed and stamped. It was Dr. Chloe Vance who pronounced her dead. It says right here, in black and white, that your sister was already dead. Chloe lowered her head, avoiding everyone's gaze. Mrs. Chun, now weeping hysterically, turned on Chloe. This is all your fault. You heartless woman. You insisted on making a real death certificate for authenticity. Now look, Lily is really gone. You have to take responsibility for this. I feigned utter shock. What? Mom, what are you saying? You mean Lily wasn't actually dead? I put a hand to my head as if piecing it together. That's why, on the way here, I thought I saw her eyebrow twitch. I told myself I was just imagining it, that my grief was playing tricks on me. Hearing this, Mrs. Chin's face crumpled as the full weight of the situation crashed down on her. I never should have gone along with this charade. She wasn't dead, she was just anesthetized. If we had just waited a little longer, she would have woken up. I rounded on them, my voice trembling with rage. What was this all about? Are you telling me my wife was conscious when she was cremated? That she was aware of everything, but just couldn't move? My words hung in the air, and a chilling silence fell over the room as the horror of what had happened dawned on everyone present. A living person pushed into a furnace. I stormed over to Chloe, kicked her to the ground, and began slapping her face relentlessly. Are you sick? My wife was alive, and you wrote a death certificate? This is all your fault. The irony was that Hannah and Mrs. Chun, in their panic and grief, joined in, attacking Chloe alongside me. When the staff finally pulled us apart, I maintained my facade of righteous fury. I collected Lily's ashes and left. I couldn't stay and create more of a scene. I had more important things to do. Back at my apartment, I tossed the urn aside and immediately called a high school friend who had become a prominent lawyer. It was time to secure Lily's estate. In my previous life, consumed by grief, I never looked too deeply into her finances. I always suspected she had assets I didn't know about. We were right. After a thorough investigation, we discovered that the $50 million loan was not registered under her name at all. She had hidden the money, but since she was legally dead, finding it would be a challenge. Still, I had to try. Otherwise, this second chance at life would be for nothing. Knowing Lily, she would never have trusted all the money to Sean or her mother. Following a faint paper trail, my lawyer and I discovered a small, rented house in her name. And inside, we found it. Stacks and stacks of cash. The loan had been taken out using my identity. The money was all here. We counted it. It wasn't 50 million. It was 80 million. It hit me instantly. This wasn't just the loan money. It was Sean's money, too. But it was found in a property rented by my deceased wife. Legally, it was all mine. An unexpected bonus. It seemed. My future was secure. My original plan was just to kill Lily, find the money to pay back the loan, and then figure out the rest. Now, with an extra 20 million, I had a future to plan. I went straight to the bank and paid off the entire $50 million loan plus interest. With over 20 million left in my account, I felt a profound sense of relief. I did it, I whispered. This life was worth living. And now, the hunt begins. Later, sitting on my sofa, I raised a teacup to Lily's urn on the coffee table. You know, you little bitch, I really should thank you. I never imagined your lover had so much cash to give you. I'm going to enjoy living a very comfortable life with it. A knock came at the door. It was exactly as I had anticipated. I opened it to find Hannah, Mrs. Chun, and Sean, with a group of police officers behind them. "Officer, that's him," Hannah shrieked, pointing at me. "That's my brother-in-law, Alex. He's the one who burned my sister alive. Arrest him." "Enough," I boomed, my voice filled with sorrow. "Can you please stop this? I know you're all devastated by Lily's passing. Do you think I'm not heartbroken?" Before the police could speak, I handed them the death certificate. "Officer, this is my wife's official death certificate. It's all there in black and white. I understand her family is having trouble accepting reality. I don't blame them." Mrs. Chin stepped forward. "You liar. You useless man. I regret the day I let my daughter marry you. Sean is 10 times the man you'll ever be. You did this on purpose." Hannah added, "You just wanted my sister's money." The lead officer frowned and tapped the death certificate against Hannah's head. "You claim this man murdered his wife, yet this document from First General Hospital clearly states the cause of death was gas poisoning after a failed resuscitation. Are you suggesting a major hospital would falsify a death certificate?" Over their shoulders, I saw Sean standing at the back, holding a small child, about 2 or 3 years old. I remembered the C-section scar I'd seen on Lily's stomach years ago. She'd spun some clever lie, and in my blind love, I believed her. Another detail I had missed, another 10 years I had played the fool. Sean declared that the child was Lily's and that he was the father. The police officer looked disgusted. "You people are unbelievable. You know the woman has been cremated, and now you show up with a child to claim her husband's inheritance, making wild accusations that he's a murderer? Do you hear how contradictory you sound?" He waved the death certificate at them again. I fought to keep a straight face, savoring the look of utter defeat on their faces. Hannah, desperate, blurted out, "Officer, I can do a DNA test with the child. I can prove I'm his aunt." "And what would that prove?" the officer asked, pushing her back. "I can prove I'm the child's grandmother." Mrs. Chin cried. "That's not how this works," the officer said coldly. "I can prove I'm the father," Sean added. The officer looked at him like he was an idiot. "Okay, and let's say you are the father. What does that have to do with Mr. Stone? What right does that give you to come to his home and demand his late wife's inheritance?" Chloe pushed through the crowd. "Forget about the child for a moment. The point is, Lily was not dead when she was cremated. Alex pushed her in himself. He murdered her. The inheritance cannot go to him." My gaze snapped to Chloe. "What are you talking about? You're the one who signed the death certificate. Are you prepared to take legal responsibility for that statement?" I turned to the police, feigning a sudden, horrifying realization. "Officer, I understand now. If what they're saying is true, it means they forged my wife's death certificate. If what they're saying is true, then they are the real murderers." I pointed a trembling finger at Chloe. She created a fake death certificate. A doctor committing such a crime. Then I pointed to Mrs. Chun and Hannah, and they were her accomplices. They were all in on it. "Officer, there is a conspiracy here, and I demand justice." The situation reached a stalemate. It was their word against mine. But while they had numbers, I had logic and the law on my side. Their story began to unravel, and in their desperation, they tried to physically attack me, only to be restrained by the police. With no other choice, the police took all of us into custody pending a full investigation. In the end, the truth, or at least the version of it that could be proven, came to light. I was released without charges. As for the others, their sentences ranged from severe to final. The police could never know I had lived this life before. From every angle, I was the loving, grieving husband with no motive to kill his wife. My neighbors all testified to our seemingly perfect marriage. The others, however, were a mess of contradictions and lies, their stories collapsing under the slightest scrutiny. 6 months later, due to the severity of the crimes, conspiracy to commit fraud and murder, Chloe and Hannah were sentenced to death. Sean and Mrs. Chun received life in prison. Upon learning the truth, Chloe's husband filed for divorce. 3 months into her sentence, Mrs. Chun died in prison. 3 years passed. I left Nanjing and returned to my hometown. I bought a beautiful, spacious house in a prime location. Sometimes, I look at the old photo of Lily I keep on my phone. "Look," I whisper to her image. "Is this the world you wanted?"